I still think silver is going to be one of the most chaotic big moves in the history of markets when the gold cartel, the JPMorgan crowd, loses control.
Our mission at SD Bullion is clear: the lowest cost gold and silver available online. While we do not have pretty blue boxes, free shipping on every order, or glamorous gold and silver infomercials, SD Bullion has the lowest prices that may save you hundreds on your next order. So before you make your next investment, do the math and join the over 40,000 new customers who have recently made the switch to SD Bullion. Why pay more?
Hey everyone, this is Elijah Johnson with SilverDoctors.com, and with us today is Bill Murphy from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee and La Metropole Cafe. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here, EJ. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, I would like to first start out by discussing the precious metal markets. We had you on about a month ago. Did you want to share with the viewers your perspective on this month's price action in the metals markets? And I know you've said that these have been the worst acting markets you've ever seen.
Let me put it this way, be more precise. The silver market's just been acting terrible. I mean, it's for such a long time, and it's had some brief rallies, and they've been sold all year, and we're down here again, not too far from $16, and it never changes. As your listeners may remember, I mean, I still think silver is going to be one of the most chaotic big moves in the history of markets when the gold cartel, the JPMorgan crowd, loses control. And I thought we might have been there a while back. The last time gold was down to $16.35, and it just was not the case. They're right back at it, and nothing has changed. I mean, the gold just got beat up. It's trying to hold here, much better than silver, and the gold-silver ratio is going back up again to over 75 and 76, and it's just a very tough time in our markets right now because of what other assets are doing. I'll probably mention this last time too. You've got the stock market doing what it is, art, real estate, and of course you've had Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies go berserk. And gold and silver are still stinking up the place. And I've heard some comments about how they're up this year, or gold's up X%. You have to be kidding me. We've gone through a 6-year, going into a 7-year bear market. And it's fatiguing people like I've never seen before in the West. I'm hearing about good buying in Europe, and of course India and China all of a sudden are picking up pretty well. But it's just a tough go right now. And yes, I think it will change dramatically, but it's got to prove itself.
Now, you were recently on the Wall Street for Main Street podcast, and you were saying the sentiment right now in the gold and silver space is probably the worst you've ever seen.
Yes, and that I'll confirm. It is horrible, and it's because of the factors I just mentioned, and they're just continuing to play out. The same scenario keeps going on, and do I think something is a bit wrong behind the scenes, the way the stock market is traded, and other people acknowledging that central banks are moving in to support the stock market, and everything's supposed to be so great, yet the yield of the 10-year T-note is down to 2.15%, and that's not showing real great signs of economic life. So I think what is likely to occur is a juxtaposition of where these other assets have gone bananas, will get hurt sometime pretty good, and the cheapest assets on the planet, gold and silver, will just explode.
Now, I'd like to turn our focus to the cryptocurrencies, because we've seen cryptocurrencies just rise dramatically recently. Bitcoin is near all-time highs. It almost went to 3,000. Now it's about 2,600. What is your perspective on why cryptocurrencies are rising so much right now?
Well, it's a great question, and good for those people that were smart enough to get involved in it these past years. And from my standpoint, there's two things that I think stand out. One, the way the cryptocurrencies have traded shows what unmanipulated, unsuppressed markets can do in this growing asset environment, and it just shows you how, to me anyway, how badly the gold and silver prices have been suppressed by this gold cartel. It just hits you over the head. I mean, I was at this conference in Acapulco with Jeff Berwick in February, and gold and silver were right about $1,200, the same price. And as you mentioned, look what Bitcoin has done. That's how bad the situation is. However, when this gold cartel loses control, and they're going to, gold and silver are going to trade just like Bitcoin just did, except in the case of silver, maybe even more explosively so.
Right. I was just interviewing your colleague, Chris Powell, from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, and he was saying that if gold and silver were not manipulated, then they could be moving higher as dramatically as cryptocurrencies are right now.
Well, that's my whole point, but they are manipulated, and it just shows, as I mentioned, just how much so. So I think, with just a matter of time here, James Turkus said if gold had not been manipulated all these years and just kept up with inflation, it would be $3,300 an ounce without any other factors involved. This is how bad the situation is, but I'm a big fan of Newton's law about equal and opposite reactions, and we got one coming in our sector, but we're not there right now.
Do you think it's possible that the rise in cryptocurrencies right now could be fueled by kind of a desire to move away from paper currencies?
Well, you'd have to ask a lot of the crypto guys, but they understand it, much better than I do, and it's certainly people that want to be out of the system and in something that they believe in, and it just caught fire, and as I said earlier, good for them.
Yeah, I remember I was just recently listening to another podcast you were on. I think it was Gold Seek Radio, and you were talking about how it's kind of funny that people are moving towards cryptocurrencies right now, but why not gold and silver? It seems like gold and silver have a lot of the same advantages of being outside the system. So why is it because the news media has not been covering that, or why do you think people are not looking to gold and silver just as they are cryptocurrencies?
One of my favorite lines is price action makes market commentary. And what you've gone on is, as I said, the incredible negativity towards gold and silver because of what the gold cartel has done. And quite frankly, it's gone on too many years and it's taken its toll on people. Last year, if they just shifted out of gold and silver and into these other assets, geez, you got big smiles everywhere. Our sector, it might call smiles to frowns. No matter what happens, this gold cartel is there and is keeping it under control because they're petrified of what's going to occur. What is interesting to me is it's so bad even that the billionaire investor Frank Schuster, if I pronounce it right, who's very well known in the gold silver arena, and was just giving an interview on Kitco, and even he said that the gold cartel, that there is a gold cartel, the Fed and other central banks and so on, that's managing the price. And that's sort of a big deal for a guy like him because he has resisted that sort of analysis over the period of time, over the years. Now, even it's so bad that he has come out and agreed with Gada.
Now, I'd like to move to viewers' questions, and this first viewer is wanting to know, what would the prices of gold and silver be if they were not being manipulated?
Well, I think I sort of answered part of it with on the gold thing at $3,300 an ounce would be an easy one to put out there. Silver's already been up to $50 twice, for crying out loud. There's no reason it shouldn't be over $100 an ounce right now.
Definitely. And I was recently interviewing Keith Neumeyer, the CEO of First Majestic Silver, and he was predicting that silver will eventually get to 130. What is your perspective on that? It seems like you agree that you see triple-digit silver coming. Yeah,
actually, we had a little get-together up in Vancouver a little while back, and Keith Neumeyer was nice enough to stop by, and when we spoke off the record then, I mean, not you can speak on the record, but he's looking for $150 per ounce.
All right, now moving to this next question. This viewer wants to know, how is the Shanghai Gold Exchange different from the CME?
Well, from my standpoint, that's very interesting. Obviously the talk is and that, the market where it was going to control things down the road and many years ahead is going to be that exchange in China and so on, and as they keep accumulating gold and it's more in their focus. What has surprised me is how little change it's brought about so far. Not much has changed in our world right now in terms of how gold and silver are trading. And even the premiums over there have come down to about $10 an ounce from they were $25 and $30 and $35 an ounce a while back. So do I think it will be a big deal? In my humble opinion, absolutely. But we're not there yet either.
Moving on here again, this last viewer is wanting to know about the U.S. dollar-Japanese yuan pair and gold futures. They say there's been, this close correlation between the U.S. dollar-Japanese yuan pair and gold futures. Why do you think this is?
Actually, it's a really good question. I mean, because I know at times how gold in particular trades, with the Japanese currency, and it's a bit strange. All I can say is, from my standpoint, and how the gold cartel operates, they can take something like this. I mean, these people are so big, and in all the financial markets, they can do at certain times what they want to do by, making the yen move a certain way when they want to even just go after the gold market, for example. So hedge funds seem to have glommed onto the trade a little bit, and it works well. Then all of a sudden, though, you'll see it won't work at all, and it doesn't make any difference. When the big key will be when the gold cartel is overpowered by some financial market event, forced to retreat, and the whole game changes. And that's what I try to do in my commentary, is stay on the lookout for signs that we're in a game changer, and we don't see them yet.
Now, there's actually one last viewer's question. Mikey is wanting to know about the legalization of gold and silver as money. There's been, some legal tender laws passed in Utah, Arizona, and Oklahoma. What are your perspectives on these?
Well, as you might suspect, I'm all for it. Would like to see more of it. I know there's tax issues where they're there have been a success eliminating some taxes on it, and so on. And that the more of that, and the more we have freedom to go in that area, the better. So, I'm certainly rooting that we see, more states go in that direction.
All right. Well, Bill Murphy, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers any last thoughts you had and where they can find you online?
They can find me at themetropolcafe.com and sign up for a 2-week free trial, and they can get on GADA's list at GADA.org with my colleague Chris Powell. Does such a great job, and all I can say is that this is leading to something spectacular, and what we're enduring here, and that's my word for it at the moment, is it's been far too long. It will probably change out of nowhere when we least expect it, when people are totally disgusted, giving up, moving into different investment areas. So it's time to stay the course, because all the pain and aggravation we're going through right now will be well worth it in the, this year, next year, and from there on in.
All right. Once again, thank you so much for your time, Bill.
Thanks, EJ. Take care.